Dealing with your fears. This is episode 209 of the Marketing for Owners podcast. Marketingforowners.com is my little friendly website where I explain my marketing system, the perpetual sales cycle. It's the system that I use and my team use day in, day out in my businesses and at Marketing for Owners. We eat our own dog food, as they say, or practice what we preach. Sounds nicer. It's what we do here. It's how you got here, by the way. It's part of it. But it helps small businesses understand how to use a website to generate leads and sales and customers and make more money and make life easier instead of one of those rubbish websites that most people tend to have. It's dead easy, by the way. Otherwise, we wouldn't be showing you how to do it for free. Anyway, today we're covering what I regard as one of the very, very, very most important subjects. Right? It's nothing to do with marketing, but it is to do with mindset, fear, conquering fear. Now, lots and lots of people I know have fears. We all do, and me included. And anything that takes us outside of our comfort zone, and this doesn't, this includes everything, but I'm just going to talk around business scenarios, okay? So anything that takes us outside of our comfort zone is scary for many, many reasons. Now, what kind of fears can we have? We can be generally the fear of not being good enough, not being ready, not being an expert. This comes to the not being good enough. I'm not an expert, how can I teach anybody about marketing? As not being as good as so-and-so person, not earning enough, not earning as much as everyone else I know. The fear of failing, and the shame, the fear of the shame that will come with failure. These are all very valid fears. There are loads more. I could write a list as long as my arm. But these are the most common fears, and they're very real. They lead to inaction and they lead to procrastination. These are not life or death. These are not suicidal fears. These are not that. But these are fears that genuinely hold you back or your business back if it's what's going on. Now, I'm going to use some quotes here because there are many quotes. People for hundreds of years have tried to inspire and to help people get over their fears and to succeed. One of the best ones is from Henry Ford, and it says it's as simple as this. Hang on while I just tap my screen. It's as simple as this. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And right now, some rather large, I wonder if that's going to be one of those Chinook helicopters flying over my head. It's actually a Chinook and another really big one, the one with the two things, proving to you that I'm recording this outside of my garden. Who asked them to turn up, eh? Sure, it's nothing serious. No army bases around here, or RAF bases. But anyway, so remember, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. What he's saying is it's down to you, it's in your head. And now you know this, but again, still not easy. So let me give you some pointers as to how to conquer your fears, how to deal with them. And yes, I understand this is not easy. So remember, baby steps. First of all, you need to get clear in your mind what it is that you're actually afraid of. And it's not necessarily going to be one thing. So all of them. I recommend listing it out on paper. Write down your fears. What are you afraid of? You don't have to show this to anybody, once you've written them down, you can go and burn the piece of paper, put it through the shredder, rip it up into tiny bits, or you could put it at the bottom of a drawer in a folder, put a date on it, and come back to it in 6 months' time, in 12 months' time, 5 years' time, and remind yourself how far you've come when you've dealt with what you used to be scared of, because you're going to get over this. Next, become aware of your self-talk. Now, most fears are, remember, in our head, and we self-talk. So we start to think of something, and then we think, oh, what could go wrong? So what I'd like you to do is, again, this act of writing it down on a piece of paper connects the brain to vision, to the arm, the action. It just sinks in better, helps you think more about it rather than just thinking or entering it into an iPad or into a laptop or something. So write down everything you tend to say to yourself, the conversation you have in your head. So when you're thinking, okay, I'm going to create a new course, a product to sell online. And then as you start to think, that's great. And then you think, but what if I don't sell any? I'll spend all that time. What if people ask for refunds? What if people don't like it? What if it's no good? What happens? All those conversations, all of them. Now these are fears, so don't misinterpret things like that for not being fears. Write them down. Once you've written each one down online, what I'd like you to do is try and step outside yourself and imagine talking to somebody who doesn't suffer from this. One of these people who just laughs at you and just says, oh, don't be ridiculous. Even though they're trying to help, don't forget. They're not trying to be nasty. They say, don't be ridiculous. Of course you're good enough. Of course you can. But write down what they would say to you if you told them this. Again, you don't have to say it to anyone. You can do this in the privacy of your own life. Keep this all to yourself, okay, if you have to. But write down what you think someone else would say to you if you said that to them, okay? Then think, what's the worst that can happen? Now, for instance, I just said, you make a course, you do it, you put it up for sale, and no one buys it. Now, what I want you to do, though, is as well as thinking what's the worst that can happen, I want you to exaggerate the worst. I want you to exaggerate it to be as worse as it could possibly be, like 10 times worse, to the nth degree. The absolute, tragic, ultimate, and write those down, okay? Are you, yeah. You're seeing where I'm going with this, aren't you? There's a lot of writing down. But this exercise, you've probably never gone through this before. This is self-help, self-improvement. No, I don't do self-help or self-improvement. No, I'm not a guru. But honestly, just follow me with this. Now, when you exaggerate these things, what you do is you'll start to see how your fears, how they compare with the real world. Once you write down, once you imagine what's the worst and then exaggerate it, then you realize what the real world is like. You'll start to see, okay, maybe that's a bit in my mind. The next one, imagine yourself being afraid but dealing with the situation in hand. So pick one of those, go back to that one. Okay, I've created this course, I've put it up for sale, I've put myself out there, I've told my friends, I've told everybody, and nobody bought it. How would you deal with that? What would you do next? So think to yourself, what will you actually do? Then, another good quote. I'm going to bring in another little quote here. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Hello. It's all right. And yep, no problem at all. So that's from Jack Canfield. Jack Canfield is fabulous. He has got some of these guru types, written loads of books, come up with fantastic quotes. But that one is very telling for this because, and I'm going to say it again, everything you want is on the other side of fear. There are loads of quotes that explain that nobody ever got anywhere unless they conquered their fears or unless they tried to fail, etc., etc. Next one. Do a little of the thing you fear. Actually do it. But a little, a piquito, right? A tiny, a little bit. Once you've done it, do it again. Once you've done it again, do it again. Okay? Little, tiny. Then do it again. Then step it up a bit. Do it a bit more. Do it a bit more. Step it up. Do it again. You'll start to find it's not as bad as perhaps you thought. But remember, baby steps, very important. Okay? The British SAS, Special Air Service, which is, by the way, brilliant, the top fighting force in the world, have the motto, "Who dares wins." Now, I don't suggest you get in the SAS, but it does apply to a lot. Who dares wins. So try it. Just try. Imagine all these little things added up. They're going to help. Finally, try and talk to someone you trust. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to go to like an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting in front of people, in public, on video, on anything. Find someone you trust, talk to them, see if they can help. And very important, someone that you trust what they're going to say, you feel comfortable with, okay? Very, very important, because you don't want someone who's going to put you down, who's going to say, "Oh, what's the matter with you?" So this is all good. I recommend you try that. If you have a friend who also suffers from this kind of thing, if you don't suffer from that yourself, ask them to come and have a look at this podcast, to look at the video, or listen to it on iTunes or whatever. In fact, they can just go on the website and the MP3 to listen to is there, you can download. So if you go to marketingforowners.com/podcast/209, you get all the details of this. It's also written down, so if you want to copy the notes, everything is transcribed, so you can get these points. But it's a Thursday, and it's time for a Drive Time podcast. Now, today we're going to talk, these guys are British. I'm going to recommend the Small Business Elevation podcast. Now, I've listened to a few of these, and it's with a couple of guys, a couple of Brummies, means they're from the Birmingham area, or, well, Wolverhampton. It's the Midlands in the UK, so they have funny accents. I actually grew up there, but they're great fun. And Rob Smith and Leon Street, Small Business Elevation. So go to iTunes and just look up Small Business Elevation. You'll come across them. Now, I listened to him interview a guy from Scotland the other day, Chris Marr, M-A-R-R, who runs a content marketing academy in Scotland. Puts on, it's just had a recent annual event. Marcus Sheridan was there speaking and everything. But a fantastic conversation they had between the three of them. I learnt a lot. In actual fact, I had to stop it, rewind, go back and get a pen and paper and start writing notes. And the two guys interviewing were making notes and coming back and explaining it. The guy, Rob, is very funny. He sounds great. And he kept on interrupting and putting his point in a very, it's just funny. It's just infectious. That's the funny thing. Go listen to them. I found them sort of infectious. I loved it. But I was amazed how knowledgeable they were. It was great. I learned a ton of things about putting on an event from the... so go listen to the interview with Chris Marr because he talks about how he puts on an event, a conference, and how to make it successful. That was an eye-opener in itself. But anyway, listen to the podcast, subscribe. If you want a special, go to mine, marketingforowners.com/free book. Now that's one word, free book. If you go there, you'll find out what will happen if you subscribe and give a review for my lovely podcast. It's a special for you. It's simple, full instructions on that page, marketingforowners.com/free book. Go on, go and reward yourself today. I'll catch you tomorrow with a weekend challenge.